Okay, time for some Excel. Um, I'll be honest, Word and PowerPoint are great. They have their uses, and they're good uses. Um, but I love working in Excel, honestly. So I'll spend a little bit of time talking about some of the different features in here. You'll notice again the clipboard over here, cut, paste, format painter. I use format painter probably in Excel more than I use it anywhere else. I'll show you that here in a moment. Fonts, alignments, all those kind of things are the same. How we format cells is important. We'll talk about conditional formatting later on in the semester in the class. Um, Being able to insert various things. Much of this is very similar. We'll talk about pivot tables towards the end of the class, a little more advanced, but essential when we're talking about large amounts of data. Again, you can create charts and things out of the data that you've got as well. Um, of course, sometimes people will print, right, what's in Excel. And so being able to set margins, orientation, right, portrait, landscape, those kind of things. I have not messed with backgrounds within Excel. I don't think it's necessary. Um, and there are, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but it seems like there are a million functions within Excel. So this is just most recently used. If I go to all, right, you can see as I scroll through this, how far this goes, right? So tons and tons of things you can do within Excel. We'll scratch the surface of those kind of things. We won't use a lot of the work that's in here in the data section or review. This is similar to what you can do within Word and PowerPoint. Um, so let's just go back to home and talk about how we do some things and just some very basic things within Excel. So in most situations, right, we've got headers, right, or titles on these columns, um, and want to make sure that we understand that most times we want those to be there, right? They help explain things, right? Name, age. Maybe we do something with I don't know sport and position. I don't know whatever we want to do, right? So Kevin, how old's Kevin? I'll just what the heck, right? Basketball, guard, right? Maybe we've got Joanne, who's 34, who likes to play um, pickleball, and really is no position there in pickleball. So we'll just put something like player, right? Those kind of things. We'll go with Steph, who's 18, who is, oh, what does she like to do? She does track, and she's a distance runner. I'll do one more. Maybe we'll do Joe, who's 16, plays baseball, and plays third. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up, obviously. Um, and let's see. So you'll notice, right, as things look a little funky, right, maybe because age is way over here on the left-hand side. The actual numbers of the ages are on the right. Sometimes, if you look at things a little funny, it might be hard to see. So I can just select this entire column, or I can click and hold it down and drag this down and just center that section, right? You notice I can also change the width of the columns themselves. You can do that with the rows also, but right, you notice that some of this disappears. All right, so I can, but you have to come up. You can't drag it from down here. Right? You've got to be up here, actually in between the letters or the numbers over here, right, to adjust. I'll undo that, right, the size of these, right, so I can come out here and do that. Another cool thing is if it happens, if I'm looking like this, I can just come up here and then double click with the left mouse button, and it will automatically size it to that column, to the, because if I had something, really long, let me just do this. I'll come up here and just go basketball player, right? Some of that's gone. I can double click on it and pull it out to that, right? I can even drag it out just a little bit further if I want some more space. I can come up here across the top and I can bold all those. I just hit Control B. Apparently that didn't work. Let me just click it on the, okay, none of that's working. That's interesting. Let's try that again. Interesting. All right, but the theory is you can come up here and just click on the bold, the italic, and have those things work. Not sure why they're not working at the moment. Hopefully that'll take care of itself and resolve here in a minute. Yep, none of that's working. Let's see if it'll change the test. It won't change anything right there. That is really interesting. Won't change size at all. Huh. Well, I may end up just scrapping this video and trying again. That is absolutely okay. There we go. Weird. Okay, not sure what the problem was there, but that's working now, right? So I can bold those kind of things. In here, I can set up borders around all of this, right? So if I just want a nice border around all of it, I can do that as well, right? So I'm just going to undo that just for the moment. All formulas, moving on to something else here for a moment. All formulas start with an equal sign. And let's say, just for example, right, I want to add up these ages. I don't know why I'd want to do that, but I just want to be able to show you the sum. Right? Sum meaning adding up the numbers that are above it. So I can hit that. Now I come up here and drag these down. Right? And you'll notice that it's doing this equals sum, and it's got a parenthesis. Right? The formatting has to be just like this, and it's taking B2 through B5. I close my parenthesis on that to finish it out and hit enter. Right? And I can go back and center that again, but that totals 121. Right? Well, what happens if I got this wrong? Steph is actually 23. Missed that by a lot, right? But you notice it changes this automatically. Right? If I undo that, right? So this is 121, change it to 23, it automatically adds it up. As opposed to, right, if I just go in and I add those up and I know it equals 121 because I added it up on my calculator in my head, I change that to 23, now I've got to come back down here and change that to 126, right? So the formulas are pretty cool that way, right? So that's the total. You can also take the average age, right? Again, every formula starts with an equal sign. I can type in average, right? You can find these in that data section in the formulas, right? But now again, I just want to grab those four. If I grab the total, right, it's not the average of those four people's ages. Right, I close that parenthesis, right, and I find out that their average age is 30 and a quarter, right? So I can do those kind of things as well. What happens here, for example, okay, that's not working the way I wanted it to, right? But you'll notice sometimes if I get some big numbers in here, I'll just do some big numbers, right? And if I shrink this cell down, right, sometimes you'll get the scientific notation that'll start showing up. Sometimes it'll show up as a whole bunch of X's across the screen, right? And that just means, okay, this isn't wide enough, unless I set it up because I'm working in something science and I want scientific notation, right? But it just means I'm going to have to move this over, right? Let's say these are monetary amounts, right? I can come up here, euro, the yen, that's not the yen, right, the pound, right, whatever, that's fine. Okay, here we go. Actually it isn't X's, it's hashtags, right, the pound sign, number sign, whatever you want to call it, right? You notice that just means my column isn't wide enough. I say, okay, I can just keep going here, or I can just double click on it and it'll show it to me, right? So 5 trillion, I believe, right, 545 million, right, those kind of things, so those will show up. But if my column's not wide enough to show it for some of those number situations, this is what it's going to do, right? So I can just double click up there, just widen it out by doing, just moving it out, and then it'll show it to me, right? So that's helpful, and it'll be important in what some of the assignments that you'll be doing, because some of those things will show up that way and you'll go, whoa, what's going on? Why is Excel not doing what it's supposed to be doing? Well, it just needs more space to show the information that's in that cell. Okay. I don't think there's a ton more that I want to show you on just this basic situation, right? With just kind of this first blush at what we're doing. We'll get into adding different formulas, different kinds of formulas, formulas that you make up and use on your own, and how they relate to business, right? Those kind of things. So, just being able to add and subtract different cells. Maybe I'll just show you that real quick while we're here. Right, let's say I want to take this cell and subtract that from it and see what I get here. Again, equal sign. Right now I can take my calculator and just, make a change here and just subtract one from the other. But I can go here, right? Notice it stuck C10 up here, minus on the keyboard, that one, and now I can hit enter. There's the difference. Well, what happens if I was off on this number and it's actually, 540, right? Whatever, right? You notice it's going to change this for me automatically. That's the beauty of Excel, right? Is not having to go in and add up these things over and over again, right? It's being able to do some of this um, automatically for you, right? And this gets more important as you get into larger spreadsheets, more data, um, things like that. So, all right, there's the intro.